Right, let me ask you something. Have you been creatively stuck of late? Maybe you're struggling to connect with people emotionally, or just maybe feel a little bit numb inside. Chances are your sacral chakra is blocked, and I'm going to show you a way, hopefully, of fixing that for you. I'm Gary, the spiritual cockney, and I've been helping Reiki with people for quite a few years now, so without further delay, let's go forward. So what exactly is the sacral chakra? It's a good question that people often come up and ask me. And it's like another secondary energy center. You know, we've got obviously a whole chakra system lined up. And I always think the heart is probably one of the most important ones, but the sacral is pretty important too. It's, for example, if you do martial arts or Qigong and Reiki for that matter, we build from the sacral chakra. You know, it's a very powerful chakra we can make the best use of. It's about 2 inches below your belly button, and it is very much a creative powerhouse. It's our emotional center, and it also governs our relationships and our sexuality. And, you know, when those signs, when is it blocked then? Let's have a look at some of that now. So you've lost your creative spark. That's how many times do you hear of writer's block or artists the thought of picking up a paintbrush and painting it just fills them with horror. You maybe feel a bit emotionally disconnected, you know, a bit apathetic, don't want to know anyone, so you distance yourself. And you struggle being intimate, maybe embarrassed with your relationships and stuff like that. You know, you just struggle, no one really gets you. And maybe you're just stuck in life. Like, you know, you're stuck in, doesn't seem to be a way forward. And it really is a bit of a common theme, unfortunately, of late. And it also, on a physical level, it can come out with back pain or hip issues. I would say if you do suffer from that, seriously consider something like Qigong, some kind of one where you can do some very gentle movement. But why does it get blocked in the first place? And there are several sort of like areas we can look at. Past emotional trauma, you know, say what has happened to you in the past affects you now, and that could be childhood, dare I say even past life, which is, you know, it's going a little bit deep there, but these things can come around, especially around relationships or creativities. Let's imagine you've sort of like drawn a lovely picture and the teacher comes up, what's this rubbish, and gets hold of it in front of you and throws it in the bin. That would cause trauma, wouldn't it? You know, and you think, like, oh, I'm no good at art, for example. Unfortunately, these things do happen, I'm afraid. And that would stymie our creativity. And as I say, this is what happens when someone does have a go at what you've done. It has an effect. A difficult breakup, say you split up with, you know, and this can go back years. It could be relationships, like, you know, with a partner, or even friends. You fall out with friends or have a big argument about something, which is really unfortunate. But it can cause like I kind of put it, it's like a jagged rippling effect. And it's a sacral chakra can well hold the pain to that. Obviously, there are other areas it can store, of course. So I'm not saying that is the only one, but it's certainly a primary one that we can look to heal with. And so if we can get away from the creative suppression, you know, where we've been told where something isn't good enough, and we take that on board, and it's sort of like where we might have been very creative and we ended up in a career that was more productive, for want of a better word. You know, it's a sort of like, and that kind of, and a lot of sort of like those roles have no time for artistry. It's just about getting the job done as quick as possible and as efficient as possible. Unfortunately, then we run the risk of becoming robotic, don't we? We don't really want to be going down that road. And as I say, there's the emotional fallout from relationships, you know, when someone lets you down, they betray you, you know, have an affair with someone, you think, what's wrong with me? Why did you do that? You know, heartbreak, you know, somebody just don't get on. And again, we ask those questions of ourselves, don't we? or someone maybe who's been abusive, and we stay in, and so many times people stay in those areas, and you think the most liberating thing they can do for themselves is to step away from that. But of course, we know it's hard, and all of this can have an effect on our natural flow. So we look to alleviate that condition, don't we? There's that fear of vulnerability. How many times, if I said to you, well, go out in the street right now and sing at the top of your voice, we'd struggle with that. I would, I'll be honest with you, but that is an expression of our authenticity. And we kind of like suppress that, don't we? We can shut that down. So let's have a look at maybe a way of seeing if we can do something about that with a little touch of Reiki. So I'd like you now just to close your eyes. Close your eyes and just focus on your breath. Do a few breaths. And just breathe into that space. And now, I'm hoping if you are attuned to Reiki, this will help you. But if you're not, we can still get the benefits of some nice healing just through pure intention. So do follow these words. And just place your hands now on your lower belly, just beneath your navel. Take 3 nice long deep breaths in with me. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Do that again. In through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose, and release out through the mouth. And now I'm going to send some Reiki to your sacral chakra. I'm just visualizing right now the distant healing symbol. In fact, I shall draw that right now. And I empower it by saying, Honsho Ze Shonin, Honsho Ze Shonin, Honsho Ze Shonin. And I'm also going to bring in the heavenly key energy, which is Seihei Ki. I'm just visualizing this all in gold. Seihei Ki, Seihei Ki, Seihei Ki. So now I'm directing that energy towards your sacral chakra. For those who are attuned to Reiki, you can certainly do something similar. As I said before, even if you're not, you can make your intention to send some beautiful energy there. And I'd like you now just to imagine this beautiful pink light beginning to glow in your lower abdomen. Now, some will say it should be orange. Now, that was the old chakra colours, and I'm not knocking those that still use that. But we're going to a higher vibrational colour now, which is like a nice soft pink. So just imagine this soft pink energy coming into your lower abdomen, and just see your creative life force energy slowly being activated. We just send some beautiful energy into that space. And as that pink light brightens, imagine a warm light beginning to glow in that place, in that beautiful chakra. And let's work with an affirmation or two here, because we can certainly take so many angles on approaching this. I release all blocks to my creativity. I am safe to feel and express my emotions. I deserve healthy, loving relationships. And just sit for a moment with those beautiful words. We're just directing that energy to your sacral chakra. And just feel that pink light spinning clockwise. Almost just scraping away all that stagnant energy. And if emotions, they might start to come up for you, such as sadness, anger, fear, just let them flow. Just let it go. Don't resist it. Allow them to just gently fall away. Now, let us see that beautiful pink light expanding. Filling your entire pelvic floor area now with warmth, vitality. We're just inviting our sacral chakra to remember how to flow freely again. So let's just hold that beautiful energy for a moment or two. And just send your attention there. Release, release and flow. Release and flow. Make that your mantra. That's all we're doing is allowing those healing possibilities to come to light. How does that feel? Just keep allowing that energy. You don't have to do too much. Don't try. It's always important with Reiki that we just let the energy flow. We don't combat it. We just kind of like allow the energy to work. Always remember, Reiki is a very intelligent energy. The best thing we can do is almost just get out of the way. We've made our little requests. And now, just allow the energy to work with you. And just breathe into your sacral chakra. Take a few breaths. And with each out breath, you're just releasing a little bit more. Release anything more. And then just gently bring yourself back to gentle awareness. Just slowly open your eyes. We just got a few ideas for you to help maintain that flow into your sacral chakra. And here's what you can do, maybe on a daily basis. Work on your hips, get them to move. And you can dance, if you're into dancing, great. I always say just watch the joints, try not to do too much jumping up and down. But, if you can sort of move the hips, and this is where Qigong is brilliant. I mean, I do recommend Qigong because that will work your hips. In fact, everything moves from the centre with Qigong. So that's something you can remember, even if you don't want to do any crazy dancing. Do just simple hip circles. In your own time. Almost imagine your hips are doing a figure of 8. That is so good for you because you are moving that energetic around the creative aspect of you. The energy will start hopefully want to move then. And because stagnant energy, it loves to stay stuck. So if you start moving it, that heavy gloopy energy suddenly says, oh God, you stop moving about. I just want to stay still. So we can do that now. And we can still do this, even if we're compromised through lack of movement. We can almost imagine that we're sending that energy around. You can visualize sending that energy into that space. And it will still definitely have an effect. Obviously, you can physically move, that's great. But also, I recognize that sometimes we are compromised. So we look for alternatives. And another way we can do that is just express your creativity. Be it like a simple little note, a little drawing, a little doodle even. Maybe a little haiku. It's like a haiku is like a very simple Japanese form of poetry, which is 5 syllables, 7 syllables, 5 syllables. So it's complicated, but it's really not. Or just do your own little limerick or something like that. Of course, you can go bigger. You can do like a much more substantive poem or writing, for example, drawing, or even just humming a tune. Whatever makes you get creative, embrace it and step into that. Because if you're into that creative energy, afterwards, don't you always feel good? I'm sure you would. I mean, if you're not, then that's probably because someone's compelling you to do it. But if you want to do it, if you're really feeling it, you should feel great, And emotional honesty. And that means feeling your feelings rather than suppressing them. And this goes especially for men, but ladies as well. Men are great at just locking it away and being, I'm all right, nothing wrong with me. We're really deep down, we're being churned up inside. Sometimes we have to just express that in a way, not in an aggressive way, but just, I always like to think of, be assertive, don't be aggressive. Assertive, you're speaking your truth, and that's the most perfect way of allowing your energy to be spoken. And maybe just have a nice little rose quartz, nice little pink crystal that you can carry with you. If you want to keep it traditional, if you want to say, oh no, I prefer the orange, then obviously Carnelian, orange calcite is something you can consider as well. And just remember, the sacral chakra isn't just a one-time thing, what we've done here with this healing. You keep on working it. So you can just, if you got value from this video, you can play it again. Play it again, Sam. It's there. It's a resource. You don't, you just follow these words. And also you're honouring your creativity and emotion. So what I want to say to you now, if you found this sort of like content useful, please put your comments below. I really do value comments. It builds the community ethos and it allows us to grow. And I know now I'm reaching out more and more languages. So I know sometimes this gets auto-dubbed and it probably might sound a bit strange, but I'm hoping the content will be useful for you. And I would certainly most welcome your thoughts in the comments below. On that note, I wish you all a beautiful, wonderful day, evening, morning, whatever you are in the world, be it in Delhi, in London, in New York, in Moscow, in Johannesburg, wherever. Much love to you from the Spiritual Cockney, signing out. Take care, everyone.